Welcome, and today we're going to learn how to divide numbers. Let's talk about the parts of a division problem. We have our divisor. Our divisor here, this is the number that is going to be the number of groups we have. So in this case here, we're looking for 4 groups. The dividend, this is the number of objects that we may have. So let's say that I have 721 pieces of candy and I want to share it with 4 friends. That would be the situation we have here. And now the quotient is the answer to a division problem. In this case here is 180, and then the remainder, of course, is what I have left over. In this case I have remainder 1. So my divisor, that's the number of groups. That's the number of groups I have. The dividend is how many items I have, or how much of something I have. And then the quotient is how many pieces of candy of whatever I have is 180. I'd have 180 pieces of candy in 4 different groups if I had 721 pieces of candy with 1 left over. Okay, let's look at the traditional method of doing division. This is probably the method your parents grew up on, and maybe some of you have seen it this way here. So let's say that we're going to divide, let's set up our division bar like this, okay? Some people call it the house. And so let's look at, how about we have 423 pieces of candy, and we want to put that into 5 different groups. Okay, so what we do here is you have to know your math facts. What we do is we take, again, the outside number here, the number of groups we want, that's 5, and we look to see how many groups we can fit 423 in. So we start with I ask myself, how many times can 5 divide into 4? Well, 5 can't divide evenly into 4, so what I do is I put a 0 up here as my placeholder. I know that can't happen, and I move on to the next number. So now, instead of having 4, I'm looking at 42. Well, 5 goes into 42 how many times? Well, think of your 5 facts. And so I know that 5 times 8 is 40, and 5 times 9 is 45. That would be too high. So I know it can go 8 different times. 5 times 8 is 40. I write that below the 42, and I subtract. 42, take away 40, leaves me with 2. And now this last digit I bring it down next to this number here, and now that gives me 23. So I think, how many times does 5 go into 23? Well, 5 goes into 23 4 different times. 5 times 4 is 20. And I subtract, and I'm left with 3. I have no more numbers to pull down, so I would write this up like this as 3. So my answer would be 84, remainder 3. Okay, let me introduce you to a concept called the Big 7. So let's start with our same problem that we had. We had 5 divided by 423. So the first thing I want you to do is, off here to the side, I want you to write some of your math facts. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say 5 times 1 equals 5. 5 times 2 equals 10. 5 times 3 equals 15. 5 times 4 equals 20. All right, let's go ahead and do it by tens. So 5 times 10 equals 50, times 20 equals 100, times 30 equals 150, times 40 equals 200. All right, and now We could even go even higher if we wanted to, times 100, which would equal 500. But seeing that that answer is bigger than what we're already starting with, we know we're not going to need this at all. So I'm just going to cross that out. So here we are. Here's us with our math facts, and we're looking over here at the answers, and we're going to try and figure out what's the biggest number that we can get from what we just produced and have it fit in over here in our answer, in our question. So looking over here, 423, what's the biggest number that we have? Well, it's 200. So what we're going to do is I'm going to minus 200 over here. And when I do that, I'm going to draw a little box over here, and that was times 40. Because 5 times 40 is 200. So let's go ahead and subtract. 3 take away 0 is 3. 2 take away 0 is 2. 4 take away 2 is 2. All right. Well, now, what's the biggest number we can take away again? Well, it's another 200. So let's go ahead and subtract that, 200. And draw your box. Don't forget this is the most important part. And that was 40 times. So 3 take away 0 is 3. 2 take away 0 is 2. And 2 take away 2 is 0, leaving me with 23. So what's now the biggest number we can take away? Well, it's back up here to 20. So I'm going to minus 20. Draw my box, and that was 5 times 4. So 23 take away 20 leaves me with 3. I've got no other numbers to come in here. None of my numbers over here to the side can be subtracted from 3. So now I have to do one last thing. Let's add all of my boxes up. So what is 40 plus 40 plus 4? Well, 40 plus 40 is 80, plus 4 is 84. So I would have 84, and don't forget your remainder. I have a remainder of 3. So my answer to this question would be 84 remainder 3. Okay, students, here I would like for you to now copy down and pause this right where we're at, and please copy down these 3 questions, 1, 2, and 3. You can do it the traditional way that your parents knew, or you can try the Big 7, whichever you feel most comfortable. And please bring your answers to class tomorrow. Thanks so much. See you then.